Good day, everybody, and welcome to Encore at the House of Mario, the After Party Nintendo podcast. This Encore is a developer interview, and I'm joined by two very special members of Castle Pixel, the talented team behind the newly released Blossom Tales 2, the Minotaur Prince. And joining me is Tyler. He's in charge of programming and design at Castle Pixel. Tyler, welcome to the show.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries. It's great to have you on this time. I actually talked to Miguel and Rob 4 years ago about Blossom Tales 1. So it's really nice to have you on the show and pick your brain about the development of the game.
Thanks.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Rob couldn't make it today, but I thought I had like the trifecta, the collection finally in my possession, kind of like the collector in Pokemon 2000. But maybe next time.
Oh yeah, four people is a crowd.
Yeah, I was thinking like, usually I do podcasts with how many people? 2 people. So I'm like 4 people. How am I gonna wrangle that? So I guess I hope he's going well. Hope he's doing what he needs to do. And of course, returning to the show, we got Miguel. He's the writer for Blossom Tales 2. Miguel, welcome to the show.
It's good to be back.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Off the bat, boys, congratulations for the release of Blossom Tales 2. It's I've been playing it over the last week. I've had the opportunity to play it a little bit early, so I guess thank you very much to you guys and the publisher. Really enjoy it, guys. Fantastic, sort of just another great action adventure game. So yeah, how's it been, sort of soaking it in over the last couple of days?
It's been pretty stressful, to be honest. There wasn't really much we could do over the last couple of days except wait for it to come out because it had gone through certification and it was just sitting and waiting. And I was trying to put it out of my mind for the most part over the weekend. And then, yeah, today, crazy.
Yeah. Because it came... I'm a little bit sort of confused with time zones. Did it come out yesterday for you guys? Or today?
Today.
Yeah, on Switch it was midnight, I think.
Oh, right, yeah. Because I feel like for us, like it came out. Yeah, I'm a little bit confused. I must have. I think it came out yesterday for us, but I don't know if it's because if it came at the same time. Because usually, like games come out a little bit earlier here, just because of our Australian time zone.
Yeah, it's still Tuesday for me.
Yeah, back in the past. It's Wednesday. Yeah, so I was sort of thinking that because there was another game that a friend of mine actually worked on. He was the writer for Trigger Witch. And those guys, they were putting out sort of updates as I was playing it. And I was wondering, like, were you guys sort of putting out updates like sort of last minute, or was it just like locked and ready to go and you were just embracing the release?
It's been pretty quiet. I did an update a couple weeks ago just for some small stuff that we had found, but for the most part, it's been ready to go for three weeks at least.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that'd be a good place to sort of be in and just at least sit back and be like, it's done at least. There's not much more I can do. I can't add another whole dungeon or try and do something bloody crazy and silly at last minute.
I thought about it.
Yeah, the old feature creep coming in.
There's always more. There's always more ideas and more stuff and more everything.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can imagine it would be difficult to try and restrict yourself a little bit. But for anybody that doesn't know what Blossom Tales 2 is, it's this is just straight from the eShop. This is the little description Castle Pixel put there. Grandpa's latest tale takes you on a journey through haunted forests, pirate shores, and other mysterious lands across a vast open world. Charming towns, terrible enemies, tricky puzzles, and powerful weapons await you. Enjoy a story within a story as Grandpa narrates exciting moments throughout Lily's incredible adventure. We will help Lily defeat the Minotaur King and save her brother. So, yeah, I think just straight off the bat, it's... I had a lot of fun sort of over my 12 hours of getting through the main story. I've still got a lot of side quests to go back and do, which was a sort of a nice surprise. I'm going through the game and there's some side quests I couldn't do until I progressed a little bit further into the game. And needed some enemies that I didn't have. Well, not enemies, some items. So that was pretty cool. I noticed in the trailer that you can actually get the horse that you save. I'm like, huh, that's pretty cool. I couldn't get the horse. I didn't have the correct item at the time. I don't want to spoil too much, but I just want to mention that because it was in the trailer. But yeah, Miguel, how do you sort of feel about the launch of the game? Are you a little bit more calm than Tyler, or you're just as shaken?
I'd say probably about the same. Lots of excitement, but also a little bit of nerves because something, in the back of our mind is like something always slips through. Like for me, it's like a grammatical error or something like that. For Tyler, it's probably a little bit worse, like a bug or something. But no, we had time to really do some polishing, and Platonic was a big help. I believe they even have some QA people helping Tyler.
Oh yeah, they were great.
Yeah,
Lee and Harley were the head of the QA department, and they were great.
Yeah, more excited than a little bit more nervous last time, but still a little bit nervous, but also excited. Reading all the reviews already, it's been a lot of fun today.
Yeah, because we were just talking before the show. I can imagine like if I put something out there and everyone's just telling me what they think of it, what's wrong with it, what's good with it. It is pretty confronting. I think a lot of critics or gamers might not keep that in mind. That you put years of your life into this. So when people say, "Oh, look, this wasn't that good," like you're probably well aware of like the aspects that could have used more work or could have been a bit more fleshed out, or like whatever the situation the reviewers are saying. I dare say a lot of developers are pretty well aware of what's going on.
Yeah, definitely. Although I noticed some things that I agreed with that I hadn't thought about before that I wish I could have read a month ago.
Yeah, because like honestly, I haven't checked out any of the reviews, so I don't know what people are saying. Like for me, it was just it was an improvement on the first game, just with its artwork and mechanics and all that, and gave us another story with Lily and Chris, which I really enjoyed. Like I want to go into it a bit later, Miguel, but I love the whole sort of the grandpa's telling the tale and how you're able to use that to your like creative advantage. Just with just you can put whatever you want in there essentially. Just whatever comes to grandpa's mind, it's in the world.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one thing in the back of my mind is I always imagine grandpa as if, when we're older, what tales are we going to tell our kids? How inspired are they going to be by the stories and games and movies and books that we grew up with? So that's my excuse for little references here and there, and that from different games and stuff. But yeah, we've enjoyed doing that story within a story narrative again. I think players are really enjoying it. Just from reading today, I spent most of the day reading reviews and tweets and all that, and I'm pretty happy with what I'm seeing. And they especially do like that we did the story within a story technique again.
Yeah, no, cool. Because was there any sort of idea to do a different type of way of telling the story, or was it always going to be going back to, the established sort of direction that you went in Blossom Tales 1?
It almost feels like that. Oh, sorry, Miguel. It almost feels like that is Blossom Tales, to tell the story and to have kind of the kids and the grandpa interaction like throughout the game. So yeah, I don't think we ever thought that we wouldn't be doing that again.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been crazy not to be honest, just because it's something players really liked from the first one, especially not only because the kids, chime in with like silly comments, but also that's how we do little gameplay choices for players, which we offer more of in this sequel. So yeah, it was always definitely in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess before we get too far into talking about the game, I would like to sort of go back and sort of ask you about your roles at Castle Pixel. Like I just took this straight from the credits of Blossom Tales 2, but so Miguel, you're the writer for the game. What does that entail for Castle Pixel? How do you go? How's your day-to-day look?
Well, the cool part about Castle Pixel is we're a really small team, basically 3 guys, and that means that Tyler and Rob also have like a lot of input with the story and everything like that. So I never feel like they just throw it all my way and say, "Here, come up with this." They do a lot of cool together. We make this world together, and I mostly do the dialogue and in-game text and things like that. That's mostly what I cover. And again, since we're a small team, I sometimes get to help with like if Tyler's having trouble with like a boss idea or something, he'll hit me up and like, hey, what do you think? And I'll give him all these crazy ideas that probably don't work because I don't program and he does. But I hope I help in that regard at least.
Yeah, cool. What about you, Tyler? In the credits, it says your programming and design. What does that entail at Castle Pixel?
Well, I am pretty much the only programmer, so it's pretty much all the programming.
Yep.
And then, yeah, the design is a very collaborative effort. Design could have been the three of us could have like had a header of design because, like as Miguel says, we're always bouncing ideas off of each other.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, the design sounds like the fun part is just like coming up with like all the mechanics and like what the game is going to be. As far as like just the little systems and that. I think that sounds pretty cool, and just the idea that you can all sort of collaborate on that sounds pretty cool. Like Miguel, do you have sort of much input? Like this would be cool if collect this item and you can put it together, and that can be the crafting system or something like that. Or do you just sort of go, yeah, cool, you guys doing your thing. I'm just gonna put my thumbs up and see what you're up to.
No, the team is definitely open to ideas. If I'm playing, even when I'm playing like early builds, I'll say, if I think of something, I'll throw it their way, and if they can do it, and if it's cool and they can do it, and it'll work in the game, then it'll make it. But if not, then it's cool too. But yeah, definitely always free to help out with everything except programming and drawing because I can't do either of those. But
no, yeah, we had a design document, like a shared Google document at the beginning where we were all just throwing ideas in, and Rob and I were kind of outlining what we had in mind because Rob always, of course, has something specific that he wants to draw for each area, so that like influences a lot of like what area is going to be. And then I have to make it, so that definitely influences like how the bosses are going to work and how the enemies are going to work and how all the puzzles are going to work. Because if I can't program it, it's not going to make it into the game.
Yeah. How much of that sort of happens where all these ideas come to you like, oh my God, like, man, it's that's not going to work because A and B and X and Y and G and T.
Most of it, I would say most of it got in there. There's some, anything that sounds really technical. I'm a self-taught programmer, so there's definitely limits on how much I can use math to my favor. But I would say 8 out of 10 ideas made it into the game.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah. Because like there are a fair few new ideas, but we'll touch on that a little bit later. I just want to ask you guys about what's your favorite game and what your first game was, just to get an idea of what type of gamers you are and what might have inspired some of the games you make. So start with Miguel. What was the first game you played and what's your favorite? And that might be the same game as far as I know, but
I had cousins with the NES, so the first games I played were like that really hard Mickey Mouse one and the first Mario games. But the first real game I felt that was my own and I really dove into was Super Mario World, which is still amazing. Still get nostalgic just listening to the title screen music. But my favorite game, it edges out Chrono Trigger by a bit, and it would be Ocarina of Time.
Ooh,
just because that game like really just opened my mind to the possibility of games like where you could really just have this combination of gameplay and puzzles and characters that you care about, world to explore, and 20-ish years later, that's what we're trying to do with Blossom Tales. Give all that to players to enjoy.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can see sort of like the inspiration from like just all the different characters in the game have all got their own unique personality, and that's something that I think a lot of people that haven't played Zelda don't realize is just how weird the game is. Like it's just a really strange game as far as like the characters and and all the sound effects that happen from it. Tyler, what about you? What are some of your favorite games, and what was the first game you played?
Um, Gosh, I was trying to think. I think maybe I had a Game Boy, like the original Game Boy, and Super Mario Land was definitely a game that stuck out in my mind. But also Tetris, like
Oh yes,
probably Tetris, because I think it came with Tetris, right? So I
yeah.
probably Tetris was the first game that I ever played. But I had an NES, and definitely this first Super Mario Bros. Game was also like big. And Link's Awakening. Link's Awakening was the first Zelda game that I ever played, and that like definitely contributes a lot to what I think I make now.
Yeah, nice.
And favorite game? I don't know.
Mm.
I am a big fan of like Ubisoft
Mhm.
and the entire Prince of Persia series, the entire like the early Assassin's Creed games I loved, like 2B. That they made 2 games, but 2B was like probably one of my top 5 favorite games. And I loved Splinter Cell, like Pandora
Oh
Tomorrow.
yes, yes.
Pandora Tomorrow was like maybe one of my definitely top 5. Yeah.
Mm. I haven't played much Splinter Cell, and that's mainly because I never really enjoyed stealth that much. But in more sort of maybe the last couple of years, I'm like, I actually really want to play some stealth games. It's sort of growing on me a little bit. I think it's because of The Last of Us Part Two. Just I really enjoyed the stealth in that game. So the idea of going back to Metal Gear Solid and even like Splinter Cell and stuff, I'm like, actually, I would like to
Yeah.
do that. Yeah.
Everyone tells me to play Metal Gear Solid because I never had a PlayStation growing up.
Yeah, no, neither did I. I just went to friends' places and played theirs, but everyone just had GTA 3 and Vice City and all this stuff, and no one had any other games pretty much. Everyone was just obsessed with that in my
Yeah.
sort of age group at the time. How old was I? Like 12 years old? Why was I playing GTA? Why was anyone playing GTA in my my age group? I don't know. I don't know if I'll let my kids play GTA 6 when the time comes.
No, I mean, I remember like shooting people in their heads, like blowing up, and like in Vice City and San Andreas, like the early ones.
It might go to show though that if you're a sound kid, it's not going to make you any weirder, any do any violent acts or anything like that. So, I guess there is something to that. Maybe it just flesh out your kid, being like, hey, look, he's a psychopath. Just put him in front of this, see what he does.
Well, the graphics also back then were like not as good as they are now, and it was kind of
Yeah.
like hilarious. Like it was almost silly.
Mm. Yeah, it might be a bit more visceral now. See that type of thing on screen for a kid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like the GoldenEye for Nintendo 64 was probably like the first really like violent, kind of realistic game that I played. And looking back at it now, it just looks all silly and goofy. But
yeah. At the time, it would have been like, whoa, geez, because like a lot of people playing the original Doom, it was like a similar situation. But like, what is this? This is grotesque. This is awful. Now you look at it and it's very nostalgic, but it doesn't offend you too much.
No.
So yeah, no, that's great, guys. It's interesting to like just see like what a little bit of your gaming history is, just to see what inspired sort of maybe some aspects of the games you make. While I don't know if there's much Splinter Cell and Blossom Tales, it's interesting to know anyway.
No, it didn't make it. None of my stealth ideas made the cut.
Yeah, yeah, that would have been interesting. Sort of dodge rolling, doing some escape. Oh, there were some enemies that put you in stone if you didn't sneak past them. So maybe that was the
Right.
aspect.
I honestly was going to suggest the Medusa enemies, but we didn't really ever use them. Like they're in like a couple places, so it doesn't count.
Yeah, towards the end of the game for anyone playing at home. So I guess getting into some more of the game talk, just talking about the last game. So Blossom Tales: The Sleeping King. It released on Switch in 2017. Came out to great commercial and critical success. And it was even at the point where, especially going back and checking out some of the content from the release of the game, like it sold just so much more on Switch than it did on Steam. I don't know if that changed in the recent years. I don't know if Steam caught up or whatever. But now, sort of the Switch is in a completely different place now. Just with its eShop being like a bit of a mess. There's so much content coming to the game compared to 2017. Did you sort of see that the trajectory of Blossom Tales 1 do anything different once more content came out? And how do you feel about sort of entering that space again with a brand new game with a sequel? Because like just as a content creator that covers solely Nintendo, it's hard for me to keep up, and I'm checking it each week and seeing some really strange content come out, and I just really hope people are able to see this game. So how do you guys feel as developers about it?
Yeah, I mean, we knew when we released the first game that everything was fresh, and Switch was 6 months old, or I guess it had been almost a year at that point. But we knew that it was a good time, and it was something we thought a lot about during development, about how like saturated, I guess, the market had become on Switch. But there's nothing that we can really do about it except hope for the best, and put some effort into marketing and advertising. And Playtonic has been great with that stuff, that side of development. But yeah, we tried to make the best game that we could, and tried not to really think about whether or not it would sell, because it's a flip of a coin. It almost feels like every time you release a game.
Yeah, no, it's hard to ask you a question about something that ultimately you guys don't control. I don't think Nintendo does even control it. The way they're utilizing it, but yeah, it was just something to think about, because like back then, every game that came out, it was just people noticed it because they were able to see it. Whereas now it's a lot like the PlayStation Store, the Xbox Store, Steam, where it can easily just fall to the wayside. But did you guys sort of see through, I guess, I don't know, whatever back end stuff you guys have for your games that you have on the eShop? Were you able to see sort of a different trajectory for Blossom Tales 1 as sort of time went on and more content came on?
That is tough, because I don't know. Like, obviously, after release, every game like starts trending downwards. So I don't know if there was any specific reasons for that. Yeah, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And guess last time I talked to Miguel and Rob, I asked the question at the end of the show, basically saying like, what's next for you guys? And Rob said, "Oh, I've got some things going on, and maybe Blossom Tales 2." And well, obviously Blossom Tales 2 happened, which is which is awesome. So when did the Blossom Tales 2 get greenlit to go into development? Did you guys have a bit of a holiday, or did you get straight into it sort of first after Blossom Tales 1?
No, we took some time off. Yeah, Rob works another job when he's not making video games, so he kind of went back to work, and so did I. And I assume Miguel probably the same kind of situation. And it wasn't until it wasn't until Playtonic kind of reached out to us and asked us what we were up to, and we talked about wanting to do Blossom Tales 2, and they were really interested in working with us on the sequel, and they kind of like were the ones that made Blossom Tales 2 happen.
Oh, excellent. So I guess that like how many years was Blossom Tales 2 in development for then?
We started, I guess, it's almost been 2 years. It's been about a year and a half, probably 18 months. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Because like, I didn't know whether this game was a 4 year in development game, or 2 or 3 or whatever. So it's interesting to know how long like a game like this takes to make, which is pretty cool. Because like, is it like full time or over full time as far as making a game within a year and a half or pushing 2 years?
Yes, it was definitely full time, maybe even over full time, but nothing like unreasonable. When you work for yourself, you kind of do. I mean, when I want to work, I work. So
yeah,
that's kind of
you do what you got to do, and you guys are like working remotely, so you're able to just turn on the computer and send an email here and there, or jump on Discord and see what's going on.
Absolutely.
Have you found like during the pandemic that that you guys are working from home for Blossom Tales 2 anyway? Have you found like your tools and the things you utilize to make the game and communicate have improved over that time because of the demand, or has it sort of just stayed the same?
So we mainly use Skype, and Skype has gone through some changes over the last couple of years, and I don't know if I would say that they're positive changes.
Right. Yeah.
They came out with a big update, I think, in the middle of develop. Well, maybe it's been like it was at the beginning of development now, but it was really difficult for me to adjust to the new Skype. And they're bringing a lot of features back. They got rid of a lot of features. I don't want to get into a Skype rant, but I was really angry with Skype for a while. But I just Skype works well for all the video sharing and private chatting that we do without creating. Like, I'm not really a big fan of Discord or Slack or any of the other like kind of services. Yeah. So Skype works great for us.
Yeah, cool. And like, I guess assets and that, do you just use a system like Google Drive to sort of share stuff with one another, or?
Yeah, absolutely. We use Dropbox. It's just the quickest and easiest thing for us. Yeah,
no, there's so much technology out there just to utilize to do it. And like a game like Blossom Tales, I would imagine it wouldn't be like too big a deal to put stuff in Dropbox, upload it and all that. But when I think of like a AAA game being developed, like say like God of War Ragnarok or something like that, I couldn't even imagine sort of uploading and downloading files every day. And yeah, I don't know how the AAA guys do it, but just for like a lean team of 3+ people, it must be, it's just sort of a great way to do it. Just work from home, work on your game, communicate back and forth, get it together. It sounds like, honestly, it sounds like a great time. I don't know if that's true to put words in your mouth, but it honestly sounds really cool making a game just with a couple of friends and getting it out there.
No, yeah, people make fun of us sometimes when we tell them we use Dropbox, but we don't really need anything more. Because like it's really, and if we're working, we're usually on a Skype call anyways. So if there's any conflicts that arise, it's easy to just be like, hey, what did you just do to this file that I was working on?
Why is it deleted?
Get out of there. Get out of there.
No, that's cool. So you mentioned your publisher earlier. So you guys changed publisher from to Platonic Friends. So is that solely because they approached you because they wanted to publish a sequel to a successful game, which was Blossom Tales 1? Or was there a sort of a bit more back and forth than simplifying it that much?
No, it was really that simple. They Gavin, the CEO or president, sorry, Gavin, I don't know what your specific title is, but he just reached out to Rob, and then they started talking, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. But it was very easy. It was just a quick message, got the whole thing started.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. That's exactly what you guys want as a developer. Publishers approaching you. That's fantastic. Because
yes.
Last time, 4 years ago, we're sort of talking when we were talking about what the future could be for Castle Pixel, and Rob said that he was very happy with FDG Entertainment, and he's like, oh, I'll probably stick with them. But he got poached, which is got some competition, which is cool.
No, yeah, they were great. And we talked to them actually after doing Blossom Tales 1. We talked to them about doing a sequel. We actually couldn't just agree on terms, unfortunately.
Right.
It happens. Yep. It just didn't work for them. And then their idea didn't work for us. And we just couldn't move forward with it. So that was kind of the end of that. But they have been great, and they've been supportive even during the Blossom Tales 2 development. So they're a great team over there at FDG.
Yeah, that's great because you don't want any bad blood in the water or anything like that. So it's good that there's no rivalry between the two publishers, which is good. Because like I know after the release of Blossom Tales 1, sort of the next step was to do a lot of translation to get the first game into some other markets like Japanese and that. And just looking at the credits when finishing up Blossom Tales 2, there's like a bunch of translators that I don't know if they come from Playtonic Games. They supplies those translations or not, but it looks like they helped out a lot as well, which you mentioned before, which is just fantastic, just invaluable for a small team like you guys.
No, yeah, the whole team has been great, but they definitely outsourced the translations. I think it was Keyword Studios we worked with for the languages, and they were great. They got everything to us real quick.
Yeah, awesome. Because like just being available more places at launch, that's very important. I dare say for you guys.
Yeah, my wife is currently playing through Blossom Tales 2 in Spanish, and it's the like the Spain Spanish, not really like the Latin American. So there are a lot of phrases that we don't that are kind of throw us out of the loop, but it's definitely a lot better than Blossom Tales 1, which the Spanish was done by me, unfortunately.
Oh, okay, right.
So that was a bad idea.
Yeah. So were you putting the credits as the translator then for the Spanish version for Blossom Tales 1?
I don't think so. The idea was just I Spanish was my first language, but my English is like way better now, both reading, writing, and everything. But the thing that lacked is grammar. So I had someone check it out, but they didn't end up being as good as I had hoped. So
Okay,
I'm throwing them under the bus a bit as well.
Chuck them under.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's cool because just the more places that can experience your content, like the better. Yeah, no, so it's great that Playtonic Games are, so useful in that respect. So yeah, so Miguel, let's talk a little bit about the story again. We mentioned before it's all from Grandpa's perspective. Did you have any sort of other ideas about where you wanted to put the story? Were you thinking about this since Blossom Tales 1, or was it very much just like, all right, new game, let's sit down, let's think about it, and then you guys sort of piece together who the main antagonist is and go from there?
Yeah, so I recall us having kind of different ideas before we even got approached by Platonic and all that. We just bounced around ideas like if we ever make another Blossom Tales, what will it be? And we had some interesting ideas involving like kind of like more modern like settings, like arcades and things like that. I don't know if you remember, Tyler. Like going into like a video game instead of like a story spoken with words. But ultimately, we decided on again kind of have this like very fantasy themed story told by Grandpa with a lot of the same elements, but a lot of new ones as well. The main reoccurring element being like the main bad guy that the main antagonist that you have to defeat at the end. So so far I'm reading that people are really liking the story in this one. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not like a super heavy story driven adventure, right? But players are enjoying like the silly dialogue or the choices along the way, and I'm happy to see that.
Yeah, because like the choices, they're like a big aspect of the game, and I enjoy how the way the story is told. That every now and again you're able to make a little choice that sort of makes you feel a little bit more in control of where the story's going, even though obviously you're not. It's not like you're going to be fighting someone completely different if you make a different choice or something like that. But every now and again it's like the two siblings are fighting about what enemies they're versing because they're just getting the story told around a campfire, and I quite enjoyed that. I'm like, what enemy do I want to face? Do I want to fight the wolves or the frogs? I might do the wolves because I think they might be a bit easier. They don't have projectiles. So like just like choices like that, I quite enjoyed. But putting those sort of choices in there, I imagine from the programming side, Tyler, that would offer a challenge in itself. But also from the writing perspective, did it make a whole lot more work as far as putting in different dialogue options? Because I always imagine games that offer these choices that there's a lot of some dialogue that people just will never see because they don't choose it. So how did you sort of go around that aspect?
So given our team size, we I think Tyler can agree that we haven't reached really that level of choice as we would love to
Mm,
add. Or maybe Tyler doesn't want to because he would have to program it all.
mm,
But
No, yeah, you're right. It's just specifically about the time and effort to like have multiple endings or to like take it to the next conclusion of actually having your choices like make a big impact. Most of the choices make a small impact. I hate to admit it.
yeah, yeah. I don't feel like they need to make a big impact. I think it's just a bit of variety as you go through the story. I don't know if you need to be like, all right, we're going to make a trilogy, and the third game is just this big, like like Mass Effect or anything like that. But I do enjoy how it all sort of pieces together as you're going through it.
yeah, definitely. And from the writing side, it's not too bad. Well, part of it is I love writing choices. I've always liked games like the Mass Effect series, or even Skyrim, where you every character you talk to, you have different dialogue options. So it was a lot of fun doing it, and it's never too bad in terms of how much content we have to write. I don't have to really remember what Lily said in this choice later down the road because it's usually, just a little bit of flavor, dialogue options most of the time.
Mm. Yeah, no, it's very cool. I really enjoyed how that's all put together, and I'm glad that it carried over from Blossom Tales 1. I thought that was a nice little aspect of things. Um, as far as the design went, Tyler. So when Blossom Tales 2, it stays true to its original. There's a lot of aspects in this game that are similar to Blossom Tales 1, but there's actually like a fair few mechanic and design sort of changes in this game. Like I guess just giving some examples, like the character walks, in my experience anyway, like walks slower. You've got a dodge roll. It's crafting mechanics. There's a fair few new things in this game. How did you go about sort of making those changes in the new title?
Um, well, we definitely wanted to try and do as much things different as we could. Like we had thought about alchemy in the first game, but we had just ran out of time to kind of put like an alchemy system in the game. And we love collecting things, so like
Mm,
collectibles, the fruits and vegetables and flowers and stuff that you pick up throughout the game. That was like really early. We knew we wanted to do that. And then I think we only had like 2 potions in the first game. We wanted more potions.
mm.
We really liked Breath of the Wild's cooking, so we wanted to
Okay.
try and just bring an
Yep.
element of that. There isn't really any. You can't make your own recipes, but there are 10 recipes in the game that you can learn, and they all do something different. But yeah, we kind of just started with the basics. We knew that we were bringing like the bow and arrow back and the bombs back, but then we really wanted to do swimming. That was another one that we wanted to do in the first game, but we were just like,
Mm.
we don't have time to bring swimming. So we knew we wanted to do swimming. We knew we wanted to do like potion making. We knew we wanted to have a horse. Like, as you said, the horse was like a big thing. Um, and we kind of just we started with that, and then we I hate to say it, but we added and took away a lot of things as we were developing, because once you actually start building the things, you realize, oh, these don't work. We're gonna have to do something different, or I'll just be like, I can't make this item, so we're not gonna be able to do
Mm.
that item. But yeah, it kind of just organically grew from like a beginning of a few ideas.
Do you have any examples of some stuff that you took away, or are you going to hold them for a
Oh
potential next
gosh.
game?
As I was saying it, I was like, he's gonna ask me what didn't make it.
Oh, look, I have to. I'm obliged to ask that.
I sadly I can't really think of anything from the beginning. I know that
Yep.
Rob wanted a day and night system, like he was pushing. Not that that's an item, but I
Mm.
remember, and it was just too much work to try and get every single outdoor map to balance in day and night and look good in both. So
Yep.
like that was definitely something that we were talking about doing, but didn't make the cut.
Mm. Yeah, no, fair enough. Because yeah, I would imagine just that would be a lot of work on your behalf again.
Yes.
Doing
Yes.
the program.
Thank you. Thank
No,
you.
I just always just think about it, just because everyone can come up with ideas. I just love that. Yeah, it's just the person who actually has to make it happen. Just like, oh, god damn.
No, I'm literally going to link Rob like this section of the podcast when it comes out.
Yeah, because I booted up my save of Blossom Tales 1 again just to check it out, because it's been a long time since I played it. It's been like 4 years since it came out. So I played a heap of it sort of around my New Year's, working hospitality, getting home late, booting up Blossom Tales in handheld mode and all that. But it's been a long time since then, so I'm like, oh, we better go back and see what the changes are. And largely the whole Zelda formula is still intact. You're going to different dungeons, getting heart pieces, doing little challenges in the overworld to get stamina gems and all that type of thing. But yeah, there was a fair few changes as far as just all the mechanics. Like there was no roll in the first game, as far as I can tell going back to it. And also Lily, she just moved a lot quicker just around the map, like just your walking movement. And I assume that's because you want people to utilize the roll in the game. And I feel like those small changes actually do sort of shake it up a fair bit.
This is going to sound terrible because I've seen so many comments today about the speed of Lily, but we didn't actually purposefully make her slower. I guess we just didn't. I mean, I personally, and neither did Rob, neither did Miguel, I guess, or he might have said something. I didn't realize that she was moving so slow. I really didn't.
Yeah, because the first game, she zips. She's a little kid. She's going up and down, left and right. She's real quick. But I noticed in the second game, she walks a lot slower, but she's a lot more animated. Well, she's bobbing. You can see her hair go boop, boop, boop as she's moving along. So it's not better or worse. It doesn't really bother me. It's just it just makes the game just that little bit different with that small change, which is always something I find interesting from just the aspect of design where you can change something that's very small and it adds up to a fair bit of a different experience.
Yeah,
I did notice.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I did notice her speed at first. It was a little bit slower. I've always been I don't know if it's Mario that did this to me, but I just always want to go as fast as I can in any game. So I did notice at first that Lily was a little bit slower in this game, but to be honest, then it just became really natural. It felt better. I revisited Blossom Tales 1 throughout development of 2, and then she felt too fast in the first one, to be honest. So I do like that. Maybe I think Tyler and Rob just didn't notice because it felt so natural. Her speed in this game.
Yeah, it's definitely not a bad thing. I think it's just an observation I made going back to the first one, because this youngster's fast in this one. Wearing some different shoes or something like that.
Yeah, sometimes too it's just whatever makes the animation look the best. Sometimes when you speed the animation up, it looks weird, or slow it down, and then you find the animation that looks the best, and then you try and pick out what speed she's walking at to fit that animation, that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, definitely. And also just with the crafting, as you're going through the overworld, you're cutting grass, you're doing bushes, you're just finding them on the ground, all these different items and things that you can use for the alchemy system. Oh man, it just it triggered my OCD something bad. I had to pick up everything. I had to cut every bit of grass to get every little skerrick of items out. Yeah, I always had plenty of stuff to go forward with the game. Yeah, that's for sure. Because in the first game, it's a little bit hazy, but each area you're collecting the different items to
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one item basically per zone, and you'd be able to sell it in town. Someone would be collecting it.
Because I really enjoyed that mechanic. Just you know what you're basically doing, and you can check that box off, in the different zones. Whereas that's basically gone in this game, is it? Apart from a couple of side quests where you got to collect some things, but there's like a lot more added in this game where you can find like different I don't know what you call them, like those like statues you basically put the fruit down for. I don't know what you call them, just like a little prey statue, or what term do you guys use?
Something. Yeah, we just called them fruit statues.
Fruit statues. Okay.
And there's a different animal for each zone, and they always want the tree fruit.
Yeah. Because I enjoyed that. I'm like, oh, there's one. Oh, there's one. And then like in most zones, I've got like one left to go. I'm like, I don't know where you guys are. That's gonna be something I'm gonna put the podcast on and just explore the overworld, see if I can track them down. Because there
are a couple that are like hidden in some trees and stuff, but there aren't any invisible ones. Like there's none that you can't not see or anything like that. They are all visible.
Yeah. And like just looking at the overworld, you can see like, oh, there's like a little, because like for people that obviously don't know, like the game works like maybe like the original Legend of Zelda, where you're moving from tile to tile, and I quite enjoy like on one tile you might see a bit of an entrance on a ledge, then you're like, oh look, I can probably enter it from the other side, and like it makes your like brain sort of think in that way. So I like how the overworld makes you sort of put the puzzle pieces together as you're exploring it, which is great. I think you guys really nailed the exploration side of the overworld, which is cool, because I would imagine that would be one of the harder things as far as design goes, because you can do great dungeons, you can have great characters, you can have great looking art and all that you have, but if the world isn't fun to explore, then that's a hard thing to sort of swallow. But you guys did it really well. So how did you go about doing the overworld? Was it just like one step at a time, or did you have it sort of laid out and then you go back and do little cave there and a little nook there and an item there? Or how do you go about designing a big overworld like this?
Well, it definitely started with like the zones, and we knew that we were going to want to do like 5 zones. And we knew that like we wanted to unlock the zones. We did throw around the idea of making the game a little bit non-linear, and you'd be able to go to any dungeon, and then once you went to all 3 dungeons it would kind of progress. But for the amount of storytelling that we do, it would have been difficult to have cutscenes and story beats that drop at specific times like in any of the zones. So we kind of like axed that idea early on. And then we knew that to like block off the zones, we would want to use things that we got in the previous zone. So like when you get the swimming in the first zone, that unlocks like more of the map. And then when you get the yo-yo in the second zone, which is actually like the grapple hook, that unlocks more of the map. And we kind of just worked from there. I don't want to give away the other items.
Yeah. I was surprised you even mentioned.
Okay, sorry. I should have said spoilers.
Yeah, no, I think it's all right, because I checked out like the launch trailer for the game on like on your Facebook page and Platonic Friends and all that, and like there's a fair bit in the trailer, to be honest. I don't know if you guys have much involvement with like the marketing and like the trailer and what's in it and stuff, but there's actually a fair bit in the trailer. How do you feel about that, as far as like, I guess you just want to sell the game, so you want to show what you've got in some ways, obviously, but how do you feel about like keeping some surprises? Obviously not everything's in the trailer, but there were some things where I'm like, like, I guess like there's an item where that allows you to, I don't want to say it, but it was in the trailer.
Right.
Yeah,
we actually, I think Platonic made the trailers, so that was kind of up to Platonic's marketing department, and they and we trusted them. We assume that they know what they're doing, and I don't mean to say that they don't, because obviously we still feel that way.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But yeah, it was actually up to them, really. They put a lot of those trailers together, and they always would show us the trailer and was like, how do you feel about this? And we always liked the trailer, so we never had a problem with it.
Yeah, no, that's great. Because I'm not saying it's a bad trailer or anything. I'm just wondering, like having played the game, I guess it might be hard to like put the variety into a trailer if you just like do like the first 2 hours of this game. Like it's probably it's probably a pretty hard thing to do when it's say like a 15-hour game just to include the very start of it. So yeah, no, I definitely think they did the right thing as far as trying to sell the game for you. I just, yeah, having played it, I'm like, oh, that item's there, that item's there, and even some things that I haven't come across yet because I've still got some side quests and stuff that I'm like, oh, well, that's what happens when I do that side quest. Cool. Kind of made me more keen to go back and do it. So, the marketing works. It's all good.
Great.
Because, like you mentioned before, we've already mentioned it here that you get a horse. I'm like, I didn't know you got a horse.
Right.
I saw it stuck, but
Did
awesome.
You try and use the fishing rod?
I did. I did. That's all I had at the time. I like, oh look, the horse is stuck. It needs some rope or something. Throw the fishing line at it, and yeah, I got criticized for animal cruelty. I'm like, oh, all right. I guess I'm coming back with a different item, and now that I've got that particular item, I'm like, all right, now I know what I need to do. I just need to go back and get it. Yeah, because I guess like just with the side quest in general, but I'm just interested about that side quest. Like, was the intention to be like for the players like me to be a little bit more smarter when we get that item, and then like, oh look, yes, and go straight back and get it, or are you guys fine with the idea of someone like me just like finish the game and going back and getting it afterwards after everything's wrapped up and you're just going around and exploring and wrapping up some collectibles?
Yeah, I don't, we just wanted to give people a reason, really, when it comes down to it, we wanted to give them a reason to come back to zones and to keep exploring areas and to like I said, unlock new areas, even in a zone. Like there'll be areas in zones that you need the item from the other zone to like even get to an area in the previous zone. So that was really just like what we were always thinking, was trying to make the entire overworld feel like it had a lot to do. Same with the side quests. Like we just wanted there always to be like that. We wanted there to always be a thing to do on every overworld map.
Yeah. To add, it also comes down to what Eiji Aonuma once said when he was developing Skyward Sword, in that if you can make the players feel smart, you're doing a good job. Because more often than not, like there's really only one option, right? There's only one way to pull out the mount. But when players get that item, they feel smart and think, oh, if they ran into the mount already stuck, they feel smart themselves, remembering, oh, maybe I can use this for that mount that I couldn't get before. And so yeah, it adds to the player's experience for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. People like me, we need all the feeling smart we can get. Trust me. All right. So that's a big thing I enjoy from Zelda games and your game, and people that make these dungeon sort of puzzle based games, which is I'm very grateful for. But I guess starting to wrap things up, guys. Blossom Tales 2. Is there any plans for any more platforms going forward? Blossom Tales 1, it only came to Steam and Switch. Is there any plans for this game to come to PlayStation or Xbox or anything like that?
Not right now, but that does not at all mean that any of those are off the table. Cool. Being a small team, we really can't do like so many platforms at launch, because it's just too much for me as pretty much the sole programmer. Although I do have to shout out Ethan Lee, who handled the Switch port for us, because even that is like way beyond. But so definitely we are considering it.
Awesome. I'm sure players that like playing on their other platforms would enjoy that. And also like a physical release. I noticed Blossom Tales 1 got a physical release in early 2020, which I had no idea about until I went back through Castle Pixel's Facebook page. I'm like, oh, I missed out on that. Damn. Because personally for me, I'm not really a physical guy, but I get physicals of like the games I really enjoy. So I'm a little bit disappointed that I missed out on that. Hopefully maybe Limited Run do a reprint of that. But do you guys have anything in the works for a physical for Blossom Tales 2?
Gosh, now you have me worried about what has been announced and what hasn't been announced.
Okay, we'll take that as an answer.
If that
That's
is
all right.
if that's a hint, okay.
We'll take
Gosh,
that.
I am sorry, Platonic, if you're listening to this.
Don't want to get anyone in trouble, but take that
It,
as
it has
you
been
want to.
announced.
Oh,
It has been
okay.
announced that
It's on Twitter, for sure.
yeah.
Okay, sorry. I really was stressing there for a minute.
All right, so what are the details then? Who's doing it?
Limited run games,
Limited
which
run
I'm
again?
pretty confident were the last.
Yeah.
Did Blossom Tales 1 as well, and there's no date yet or anything like that. But Platonic has announced that a physical version of Blossom Tales 2 is coming.
And a vinyl of the soundtrack as well.
Oh, okay.
Is coming. Wow. I know that for sure.
Wicked. Yeah, no, I'll have to keep an eye on that. I've never bought anything from limited run games before, so you guys might be the first. Because for me, everything's just downloaded on my Switch because I enjoy just picking it up and playing it that way. But I usually collect the Pokemon games and maybe a couple of other first-party Nintendo games, and yeah, that's kind of it for physical. But I would love nice, beautiful vinyl soundtrack. I've never I got no vinyls either, so there's a lot of first times. Blossom Tales 2 maybe going on from limited run, and we talked a bit about it 4 years ago when Miguel and Rob were on the show. But Rex Rocket, are we ever going to see Rex Rocket come to Switch or any new platforms, or is that game? Because I personally haven't played it. I should probably just pick it up on Steam and see what it's all about there, just to see where you guys come from before Blossom Tales 1. But is there any sort of any desire to go back to it and bring it to more modern platforms apart from just PC?
We've definitely internally talked about it, like the Castle Pixel team, but gosh, when I go back and play that game, it feels very much like the first game that we made, and I mean that kind of in a negative way. I can't help but see like all the things that like really need work in hindsight. So if that ever came out anywhere, we would probably have to do a little bit of work on it for me to like feel good about it.
No, that's fair enough, and that just goes to show that's a good thing, really. That goes to show how much you guys have grown, and just with your skills and everything like that. It's just great to see, and it's a shame that Rob couldn't join us on the show to talk about the artwork and stuff, because it looks fantastic. That's just like the grass. I noticed the grass, like it's a lot more sort of detailed and stuff like that. And just like the small details, because I thought Blossom Tales 1 is beautiful, and it still is beautiful, but you can just see like little touches that he's made to just improve little bits here and there. And I just had a little question for him. You guys might be able to answer it maybe a little bit, but just with how did he go about sort of learning some like more techniques and improving his work?
Gosh, I don't know, but I do know about the grass. I don't know about the larger question, but I do actually know about the grass.
Okay. Yep.
It was just about getting it off of like the tile grid. Grass in Blossom Tales 2 is like an individual object that can be placed down anywhere, and different size clumps can be made. And the grass in Blossom Tales 1 was just like strictly built off the like tile system.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that changed. And the same for the trees. A lot of trees were based off the tile system in the first game, but in this one, they're all individual objects that can be placed anywhere in any kind of pattern. So that definitely contributed a lot to like the look of the overworld.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's like a massive thing. Just having like once again that small change just allowed the game to be just a lot different as far as just aesthetically, just being able to put grass where you want it to be. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, and I think everything else is just like you said, it's been 4 years, and we just all have improved in our individual fields in that time, even if just a little bit. Definitely a little bit better than we were.
Yeah. And last question, guys. What's next for Castle Pixel? I guess if you follow maybe what you guys did before, you might have to go back to work and do all that type of thing. But what's next on the cards for a potential next game, or what do you guys desire to do next? Just even if you don't have any plans yet.
Miguel, let me think about it.
Big question. Yeah.
There were talks of a battle royale Blossom Tales. No, just kidding.
I love that. Just
Tyler would
the campaign to get Lily in Smash Bros never ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
I don't know. I mean, I just really love making games. Really love working with Tyler and Rob. So whatever is next, when that happens, be happy to join. As for ideas, I mean, I don't want to put the whole team on the spot and say we should make this, but if it's a Blossom Tales 3, we'd find ways to improve on what we've done and also add some new stuff. If we go to another genre, which would be exciting as well, we would find our own way to make it probably charming or interesting as well. There's so many genres out there, but we'll see.
What genre would you like to write a story for?
Me? I mean, I've been doing this, writing for games for more than 10 years now, but I haven't done an RPG yet, like a full-fledged RPG, which are so expensive to make and everything. Yep. But there
Tyler,
would
go
be
and program a battle system.
Yeah.
So I've always wanted to make an RPG. I was a really big fan of, I can't remember the name of the game, but it like was kind of Cosmic Star influenced. It came out a couple years ago by an indie studio. No. Anyways, the thing is, I never played RPGs growing up. So I don't know, just for that simple fact, if I could code a good RPG, because I don't really know what a good RPG is. But we've definitely thought about RPGs as a genre. And just to answer the original question, I honestly don't know what's next. I've always wanted to make Rex Rocket 2. I think if Rex Rocket ever got brought back from the dead, it would maybe be a sequel, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. But that's just personally something that I've always wanted to do. And we haven't really even talked about the next project. Like, honestly, other than being like, oh, let's not do this in Blossom Tales 3, let's save it, or do it in Blossom Tales 2, let's save it for Blossom Tales 3. Other than like random things like that, we haven't really thought much about what's next. So much to do still for Blossom Tales 2.
Yeah. Is there any plans of updates or anything like that for Blossom Tales 2, or is it just a product how it is today is how you'll play it in 5 years' time?
God, I honestly am thinking about changing the speed that Lily walks. I've been thinking about it all day.
I don't want to put that seed in your mind. That's just something that I observed. Yeah.
You are, this is like the 12th time today that I've heard about the walk speed. You are not alone. We totally missed it, Rob and I. But no, there will definitely be updates, especially if there's any bugs that like get found. There would definitely be at least 1 or 2 updates. Just to handle small stuff.
Now think about it. I came across one bug, and that was the blacksmith. He duplicated. There was 2 of them.
Really?
Yeah, there was 2 of them walking around. I got a screenshot actually. I can send to you on Twitter or whatever. But yeah, that's the one thing I came across was he duplicated. I'm like, huh, that's funny. And I went out of the house and continued on with the game. But yeah, that was all.
Do you remember what you did at all?
What was that? Sorry?
Do you remember what you did, if anything, that might have done that? Because that's pretty crazy.
Not really. No, I just went in there and talked to him, and I think I came out of like a discussion with him, and then one just walked out from behind him, and they just did their own thing. One was on the blacksmith table, the other one was looking out the window. I'm like, okay.
He has a twin brother, obviously.
Yeah. Just like, a secret written in evil brother that's just living there.
Okay, I've written it down. I will look into it.
Now there'll be like a 10 gig patch to try and fix that. No, it's yeah, it wasn't a big deal. Obviously, I took a screenshot and thought you guys might find it interesting when to bring it up on the show when you guys come on. But yeah, I think that wraps it up, guys. We've got an hour and 5 minutes here. Thank you very much for joining me here at the House of Mario. Really, really appreciate your time, and you guys are the first developers to come back on the show, actually. So yeah, no, big thank you to you guys, and thank you for making the game. I really, really love Blossom Tales. It's one of my favorite games on Switch, and yeah, like I find it even hard to put it in words. I really like it. It's a great game.
Thank
Awesome.
you. No, yeah, that is so amazing to hear, and we really appreciate it. We appreciate your support and for having us as guests today.
Yeah, no worries. So, everybody, if you want to go and support these guys, you can go and pick up Blossom Tales 2, the Minotaur Prince on the Nintendo eShop and Steam for $15 USD. I believe it's $22 here in Australia. So, it really is nothing. I believe in Fall Guys, they're asking like $30 for a Sonic skin. Like, come on, fuck me, go and buy this instead, please. Like, when I hear people like in Pokemon Unite, I think they want like $40 for a Venusaur in a tuxedo. I'm like, come on, support some indie devs. Don't buy that stuff. So yeah, where can people keep up to date on Twitter or Facebook or whatever social platform they use just to keep up with you guys and your work at Castle Pixel?
Yeah, I'd say
go ahead, Miguel.
Yeah, usually on Twitter, we'll peek in there and see what everyone's saying. The Castle Pixel Twitter, and we have a Facebook, but it's not too alive. I know we do have an Instagram as well. Yeah.
I didn't even know that. Definitely Twitter.
Yeah. Instagram's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I've got that, don't I? And every now and again, I check out my friends' stories or whatever. But apart from that, yeah, it's just my dog and my baby. Actually, the last couple of posts. So that's what's going on in my life. Not too much. I got 2 cute little things, but that's about it. Yeah. So everybody, thank you very much, and guys, thanks for coming over. And yeah, you guys make it a home here at the House of Mario. So thank you very much for that. But until then, it's time to get out. Hospitality is over. The doors are closed. We'll catch you later.
Bye.
See ya.